Hi guys, this is Pea Soups and welcome back to Happy Little Saplings. Last episode we did some Botania. So we've increased the amount of mana that we can produce by quite a bit. We got 10 Gormarillas now, all feeding into the pools right here, which then feed these guys right here, the Luniums, and they create they take an awful lot of mana and they create dungeon loot. So we have two of these guys pulling a ton of mana, and right there we have Ender Lily seeds that they've created. Now this vacuum hopper does pull into the chest right there, and let's see how we've been doing. So we have 40 Ender Pearls now and 26 Ender Lily seeds. Now, the cool thing is about the Ender Lily seeds is when you melt them down, you actually get a whole stack of Ender Pearl worth of liquid Ender, essentially. So you get 16 per one of these. So these will be a great source, a great renewable source of liquid Ender. And that will let us create our Enderium. So if we take a look at this guy, and here we go. So this is just the best way of looking at the recipe. So it's 1 bucket of Ender, 144 millibuckets, which I believe is half an ingot of shiny, an ingot of tin, and half an ingot of silver to create, or maybe that's 1 ingot, that's 2. Anyhow, right now we're stuck at this shiny point. We don't have a source for shiny metal yet. We're about to create one. Okay, so our shiny metal, unfortunately, we really have no decent way of getting it because it's either doing a lot of strip mining or just like a huge quarry to find the few bits of shiny ore out there, or you can also get it as a 10% chance drop from ferrous metal. And if we find that, yep, so if we pulverize ferrous ore, then we get a 10% chance of getting pulverized shiny out of that. So, unfortunately, we don't have a decent source for ferrous ore blocks either. So we're going to have to make it ourselves. With that said, let's get started. So first of all, what we're going to need, let's throw our combiner down first, since that's going to be the one that does a fair amount of the work. Okay, in fact, let's move him over just a little bit. There we go. So essentially the combiner takes cobblestone and some kind of dust, and it will process that into the correct ore. If I can I get back out? No. Okay, destroy everything. So it uses 8 dust to create 1 ore. So that's used 16 to create 2. Now, if we pop down, oops. There we go. So essentially we can feed ferrous ingots into the top here. And let's make sure we're configured properly. So we want output to go to the bottom. In fact, there we go. So now that should feed the ferrous metal into here. I think those guys need power. There we go. So ferrous ingots into here turns into ferrous ore here at quite a price. And then we can have this guy eject output to the bottom, and that puts the ferrous ore in here, and we get our 2 ferrous back. So we have a 10% chance of getting shiny at a 3-to-1 loss of ferrous. So we have to spend 6 ferrous to get a 10% chance at getting shiny. That's a lot of ferrous ingots. Fortunately, we do have a fair amount. So for now, I can just toss these guys in here, and we'll see how he does. In fact, let's get a hopper, and we'll get some more. I'm going to keep this away from the AE system for now because I don't want all of my ferrous being taken up. But I can toss these guys in here, and we'll see what we get out of this. Oh, I guess there you go. So it's probably going to be a while until this thing actually produces anything, if it produces anything at all. But this is really the only way of us getting that ferrous material. So one way that we can improve this is, do I have my wrench? I do. What we can actually do is hook that guy back up to there, and we'll set, oops. There we go. We'll set any regular output to be put through the tube and back into, oh, actually it needs to be going to there. Let's go ahead and configure that. There we go. So this thing will take the ferrous that comes out of here, the ferrous dust, and it'll be re-input back into the system as many times as necessary. So it's kind of a closed loop. So ingots, dust, ore, and then the dust goes back. And any shiny metal that we do collect from this process will end up down here. And I'm actually going to fill this guy up. And this is mechanism. I'm not sure what upgrades I'd be able to put in there. Alright, well, while that guy's going, there is another setup that I need to create, and I'm going to use a couple of machines that I have already made. And that is Tweedledee and Tweedledum here. I've needed to move these guys for a while anyway, but now is as good a time as any. Okay, so what we need is a readily available source of liquid redstone and liquid glowstone. We'll have one setup for each. It looks like such a strange texture. We'll have one setup for each. As you can see, I've set up the alloy smelteries here in the same way that I set those guys up. And let's see, so that's our transposer. In fact, let's put our transposer to the side, and our magma crucible. Did I not get the crucible? Oh. Oh. I done confused myself. Okay, so that's the transposer, that's the crucible. Perfect, perfect. So let's dig out a hole. And I guess we can use the bottom of these guys. There we go. So we can power them from the bottom there. Alright. And let's get some cable. Hopefully we don't run out of channels here. Alright. I think we're going to need access on the top here as well. Yeah. Alright, and we're going to use something that we haven't used yet, though I'm sure you can imagine exactly what it does, and that's the export bus. So what we want to do is keep this guy full of redstone at all times, and that will keep this guy full of redstone at all times as well. So if we pop an export bus on here, we can specify the item to export. And I should have some redstone right here. Okay, so export redstone. And as long as that guy has a channel, oh, you know what? There we go. So he'll start creating destabilized redstone, so liquid redstone essentially, and tossing it over to this guy. And if we accept from that side, we can see this is now filling up in this reservoir. So now what we need to be able to do is put an item in here to be filled with the destabilized redstone here. So let's see, we'll use the top for output. So for that we're going to need an import bus and then an interface. So an import bus that will pull the results out. And I don't know if we're going to want to use an interface now that I think about it, but for now we will do that. So we'll pop him on there. How are we doing on channels? Ooh, we got one channel left on this sub-network. This part of the network. I'm going to have to fix that. But that is... oh, you know what? Let's switch these around so I can configure the interface from outside of this thing. So interface on... nope, that was wrong. Interface on there. And you and you and you. So we don't need you. And our import bus there. Okay, so now we can put processing patterns in here, and one of the ones that I am going to need is turning a bucket into a bucket of redstone. You would be amazed at how important that that crafting recipe actually is. So we can toss a bucket in here, he gets filled, and he gets imported into the network. Alright, so now we have a bucket of redstone. Now if we go to our patterns, this is a processing pattern because it's not crafting, and we'll turn bucket into bucket of redstone. Okay. So now we can throw that pattern into here. And where was it? There it is. As always, we want to keep one on hand at all times. So let's just, I don't want to toss him in there. Or there. Here we go. Oh, I hit wrong box. Oh well. That's what we get for rushing. Had to take our time. Here we go. So we can put him in there. And now, if there is a bucket in the network, then that should automatically craft as a redstone bucket. Let's take a look at what's happening with that. Okay, so it is being requested over the network. And I will bet you, yep, that is the wrong way around. There we go. So that's fixed now. Alright, so bucket of redstone, yes please. Bucket of redstone, yes please. So this is a great way, and we're going to be using this same kind of setup in our what the heck are we making? The Enderium. Because you will notice that Enderium, I guess it's this one. Yep, Resonant Ender Bucket. So we're going to have to do essentially the same thing with melting down Resonant Ender and importing it into a bucket for automatically crafting. So let's take a look. Oh my goodness. 3 shiny metal. 3 shiny metal. Okay. That's wonderful. It cost us dearly, but oh. Alright, let's see if we can go for another stack right here. Alright, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and create another setup just like this for our Ender, and I'll be right back. Okay, so in doing this, we are going to need more channels out here. We are running low. Now we could use a P2P, but right now I just prefer to get a dense cable running out for these guys. So let's make a new blue dense cable to separate it, and we know which way it's going to go. And how do we want to run this guy? I guess we can run him in like this. Actually, let's put him down here. I'm hoping I have enough. Alright, so we've got our cable laid. I've switched this cable out with white just so that they don't interfere with each other on their way into the controller there. But now we have a dedicated dense cable to go to the rest of our processing. I may move some of those over to this cable as well, depending on how many channels we end up using. So same thing with this guy. Can I not get out? There we go. So that's our import bus. So we need an interface for the top here. And let's just pop you open for now. We're going to use an export bus to export ender lily seeds and an wrong one. So export bus goes there and import bus goes there. Let's verify our sides. So back is input there and top is input here and back is output. Alright, so let's just throw those on there for now. I have to tidy up all these holes anyhow. These guys should have power. And I need an ender lily seed. Let's grab what we've got. Oh, you know what? We need a bucket of this stuff before we even start. So let's throw one of these guys into the crucible. I have a bucket on hand right here, which I should be able to throw in here right now. Oh, need that input as well, and that output. There we go. And it got sucked back into the system, which is a good thing. And our resonant ender bucket. Alright, so now we can turn a bucket into a resonant ender bucket using that pattern. Oh, that's the actual bucket itself. And one last thing to configure. We're going to have this guy just output all of the ender lily seeds into here. We really have no other use for them. Let's go ahead and toss them in the system and see what he does with them. Back is set to input. He's set to export those guys. There we go. Let's see. That should do a pretty grand job. So now, one last thing before the episode is out. We have a bucket of resonant ender. We know how to craft pulverized silver. What else went into enderium? Tin and our shiny. So let's make sure that we can pulverize tin. So we'll grab a couple of those. And I don't have my specialty pulverizer anymore. Okay. And we'll turn this into a processing recipe. So 1 tin gives us one of the dust, and we'll pop that guy into the pulverizer setup right here. Don't know why I decided to go in up here. And fortunately that is the last. Oh, trying that again. Okay. So now the system knows how to create pulverized tin. We can do this one last thing. The Enderium ingot. Oh, I guess it would be the blend actually. We have all of that, and we just need, what am I missing there? Silver dust. Oh, let's grab a silver dust. Yep, that's fine. There we go. And that gives us 4 Enderium. So let's encode that guy. And we'll put him in here, sure. Okay, so finally we just have to test the system here. So now we should be able to hit craft next, and we know it'll craft 4. We have 1 more pulverized shiny left, so we'll hit go on that. And he may have already filled that bucket. And there's our 4 Enderium auto crafted. That is amazing. Now the next step is to turn it into ingots. That's going to be for the next episode. We're going to have to do some workaround fun, kind of like we have set up here, to get some sulfur, I believe. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, we have auto crafting Enderium, and that is a wonderful thing. So yeah, I think that's this episode. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have, and learned a few things along the way, and I hope you have too. See you again next time, guys. Goodbye.